So, Superman, I feel like the best movie, everyone considers probably the best movie, at least, I consider it that, would be the first one. I know there's a debate between that and Man of Steel. People love Man of Steel. And we'll talk about that. We will definitely talk about the love for Man of Steel. But for me, I feel like Superman the movie, it's just kind of remarkable how that film came together, especially considering how Richard Donner had problems on that film. He wanted the first movie to be cut and the second movie to be really connected. It's why at the beginning of Superman 2, you have this kind of like previously on
Yeah.
Superman where you see Zod, I mean, they're setting up Zod in the first film, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
With everything that could have been a mess, with the costume, right? The effects, just the idea of Superman. It could have been super cheesy. And some
Hmm.
elements of the film are cheesy. But I do think that it remains strong with a very tight script, with the characters that are very well realized, and effects that are still very impressive, especially for the era that it was brought up in, you know? How do
Oh
you
yeah,
feel?
I completely agree. Superman the movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's groundbreaking. When we went to go see the anniversary, it's one of the best experiences of my life. I'll take those
Mhm.
memories to the grave. Christopher Reeve, his portrayal, it not only will it impact the comic book genre, I think it's impacted life itself. We look back upon that movie and think, I believe there's thousands of people that look back upon that movie and always reflect, what would Christopher Reeve do? What would Superman do? That is the impact that that movie has had on all of us. The tagline, "You'll believe a man can fly." That's exactly right. You will. The the visual effects, the practical effects in that movie are absolutely groundbreaking. Watching it in 2020 or 2019 when we saw it, for a movie that came out in 1978, for it to make us feel that way, it's remarkable in itself. It's a testament to how beautiful that film is. And me as a person, my favorite things to watch are people with gifts that utilize it for good. I'll never get tired of seeing that, and I think that movie best utilizes it. Kevin Feige, the greatest producer ever of all time, producing a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Not only is the MCU financially successful, but emotionally in terms of how they're telling that story. He says they always look back at Richard Donner's Superman the movie, especially when they're introducing new actors to the MCU. They always start off with that movie as the blueprint, the foundation of creating something special within the MCU. That says a lot. And it's exactly right. You see the influence of Richard Donner's Superman in the MCU, which is why it's successful financially and emotionally, and why we're so attached to those characters. You see a lot of similarities to Chris Evans' Captain America to Richard Donner's Superman, and it's because, yeah, those that is what superheroes represent to people. You know, superheroes, say I'm somebody in the hospital and I need somebody to attach myself to. Superheroes are the perfect vehicle to give myself hope, and especially when they're done right, they can save your life. Even in your in God forbid the last days that you have remaining on this earth, I guarantee you a superhero or somebody that you identify with uh, can make those last days really special for you. That's what those characters mean to people, and that's why that movie's so special.
Man, you're saying it just after one question after another. It's like better than I could say it. Just why don't you cut that out, man? But just
Yeah.
stop. No, I agree completely. I feel like when it comes to superheroes, they are the basically the main examples of escapism. I think
Yes.
this year, previous year, because we are in March now. This
Hmm.
previous year of 2020 was so it had it was depressing a little bit, you know? It was hard to get through. There were a lot of worrying moments, a lot of close calls within 2020 and even some of 2021. Um, I feel like the shows like Mandalorian, like WandaVision, like Superman and Lois, they couldn't have come out sooner, you know? They could have. I mean, we could have used that shit back when 2020 was still happening, but
Yeah, for real.
um I feel like they lend escape qualities from reality. And it's not that you want to close yourself off from what's actually going on in the world. I feel like these shows reflect heavily on what's going on in the world. WandaVision, Superman and Lois. Maybe not so much The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is just a really fun space adventure, which anyone could use to
Oh
feel
yeah.
like, I mean, look at the reaction that Angel did at the finale. Like, you know, you completely forgot within those, however long that video is, about what was going on in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the magic of this medium, you know, of this storytelling medium, and genre films specifically can just put you somewhere else. And you'll have to deal with the real world. You do, yes. But maybe you learned a different way to deal with it because of something like Superman, something like Mandalorian or WandaVision or whatever else you're watching, you know? I
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Did you have
perfectly
something to
said.
add?
No, yeah, perfectly said. I just wanted to add on to your point of like WandaVision. What can you take away from that show?
Let's
Yeah,
talk about WandaVision.
it's this show about this Scarlet Witch. You know, she's creating this false reality. But what do we learn? You know, especially with the lives that we've lost this past year, the
Yeah.
line of like, what is grief if not love persevering? I guarantee you it helps somebody. You know, a movie like Superman, the movie, or even for Man of Steel, for people who love Man of Steel, there are things about the character. There are things the way that there are things about it that make you feel just hopeful, and like it makes you want to strive to be a better person. So that's what I love about this Superman character. I think he is the primary vehicle for escapism itself. And I think the primary example of that recently would be Superman and Lois episode 2. It
Oh,
had it had everything. It had everything, like,
everything.
and every aspect about it was just 110%. I'm just the action sequences alone, I'm telling you.
Angel, we will
It
talk.
blew me
We will
away.
bring that up. We will bring that up. I promise you. Um,